instant noodles, detergent, ice cream, lipstick, chocolate, cookies, and soap. What do these things have in common? They all contain palm oil. Have you ever wondered where palm oil comes from? To answer this question, we have to go back in history. The earliest records of oil palm traces back to Africa in the year 1848. With trade and commercial activities, oil palm made its way to Indonesia. As the years went by, oil palm plantations flourished. In the 1960s, oil palm plantations were organized into large estates. In the 1970s, World Bank and Asian Development Bank gave these oil palm plantations large capital injections. In the 1980s, Indonesia's policy background favored foreign investments. In the 1990s, the area of privately owned plantations was more than that owned by the government. Recently, in 2010, the total area of oil palm plantations is equivalent to 54,000 NUS campuses. Today, oil palm is the highest yielding cash crop in the world. Why? Oil palm is able to produce much more oil per hectare of land use compared to other crops like rapeseed, sunflower, and soybean. More palm oil means more money. The palm oil is also a key ingredient in many products, and that makes the demand surge up. For poor farmers and smallholders, oil palm is like a godsend to them, as it represents a relatively cheap way to earn more money and improve their current quality of life. In theory, growing oil palms and engaging in the oil palm business seems to be a very good solution to the poverty issues faced by many in the agricultural sector. Growing these plants also help to increase the carbon sink for the earth. In a sense, it would seem that both people and the environment are going to benefit from it. However, the reality remains far from ideal. Oil palm agriculture today has become a highly controversial issue. Because oil palm has such a high yield, the demand for it is going higher. Farmers and companies simply just increase the size of plantations if they want to increase their revenue. With limited manpower and money, the cheapest way to clear the land for more oil palm would be to start a fire and let it spread till there's nothing left to burn. As a result of this, the animals, plants, environment, and people are severely affected. The native orangutans that have been living in these forests have been choked by the thick black fumes. Many are burned to death. Tigers and even elephants are not spared from this horrifying mess the humans are creating. Many other animals are forced to leave their natural habitat as well. This severely upsets the whole habitat, whose ramifications may seem minor in the short run, but could prove to be too severe in the near future. Many species of rare plants and fungi that may contain novel compounds required to combat future lethal diseases might also be inevitably lost forever. We may very well be sealing our own existence in the future. The perpetrators of these illegal burning activities are suffering as well. Many of them have developed respiratory tract infections due to the presence of extremely harmful particles and gases in the sooty fumes. Beyond the national level, neighboring countries like Singapore and Malaysia have been affected. Visibility dropped drastically because of the haze, and that impacts the safety of airlines and construction industries.
Growing only oil palms in a specific region has its own sets of problems. Beyond just the biodiversity issue, the presence of only one species of plant in a region makes it very easy for plant diseases to spread. Ganoderma, or otherwise known as the trunk or basal stem rotting, is one such disease. The exact cause of this disease cannot be easily determined. And guess what? The best way to prevent the disease from spreading is burning. So what now? Can the producers be conveniently blamed for this? Or are there deep-seated issues that eludes from us? Warning, things are about to become a lot more complicated once we delve deeper into this whole oil palm controversy. Let's start with something direct. Let's start with the producers, which are the private holders and the large plantation companies in this case. These small holders are disadvantaged as compared to the large plantation companies. Firstly, they are not integrated in the formal system of oil palm companies. This means that these small holders remain elusive under the law, thus making it extremely hard to monitor their actions and the type of agricultural methods they are using. In addition, they are not entitled to borrow from banks. This makes it even more financially challenging for them to adopt sustainable agricultural methods. And as it turns out, smallholders are only one-third as efficient as the large plantation companies. There is thus an incentive for them to use the cheap slash-and-burn method. Whoa, hold your horses. The large plantation companies are not free from accusation either. Some of these companies have reportedly used force to acquire land from the indigenous people just so they could grow oil palms. To avoid being caught, these companies simply transfer the ownership of the illegal plantations to scapegoats, making it even more challenging for authorities to nab them. To make matters worse, many of these companies are unwilling to give the government the information on their operation areas, for the fear of being made the scapegoat by the infamously corrupt government. Let's talk about the government. To be fair, the Indonesian government has recognized that this oil palm situation has become a severe issue and are doing something about it. Many dialogues have been organized by the government to get producers to share best practices. Laws were changed, the Transboundary Haze Pollution Act was passed. Fines were also increased, cloud seeding and the preemptive water bombing of the areas prone to fires were done. However, as long as the root cause is not tackled, the problem will persist. Today, irresponsible agricultural practices are still rife. The root cause of this whole oil palm situation is the corruption and the lack of trust. The corrupt house is still controlled by one of the despised leaders, Megawati Sukarnoputri. As such, it will make it difficult for Jokowi to implement changes in the government and on the ground. It was even found that between the years 2003 to 2014, $81 billion worth of revenue was lost due to illegal deforestation sales. This was a result of the persistent lax enforcement of deforestation and the handing out of land illegally to friends. It is because of this corruption issue that companies do not trust handing their operation-related information to the government, thus tipping the balance even further, making it extremely difficult to identify the culprits for the deforestation. Being aware that the government is not very trustworthy, the people have taken it into their own hands. Indonesians are trying to contribute in every area that they can to prevent irresponsible agricultural practices. NGOs like Greenpeace have done their part by educating consumers through a series of roadshows, exhibitions, and even organizing overseas expeditions to allow foreigners to experience the severity of the situation. They conduct field visits to investigate the hotspots. They even went to the extent of engaging experts and analyzing satellite data, all in bid to stay relevant with the changing nature of the oil palm situation. Also, there is this RSPO certification on products using palm oil to help consumers make a better informed decision. The last and most important party involved are the consumers, people like you and I. We are the reason why oil palm is still being grown and harvested. Our demand for palm oil justifies the existence of these oil palm plantations. We are not spared from this controversy and in fact blamed for our lukewarm reception towards the RSPO and the lack of ability to make conscious choices on the products made from sustainable palm oil. Come on, let's be honest. How many of us actually are aware of the existence of RSPO and consciously check for the similar labels when we purchase products? How many of us are willing to switch to another brand just because it uses sustainable palm oil? Kudos to you if you're one of the extraordinary few who does this. If you haven't done so, fret not. It's better late than never. Now that you and I know about the negative impacts and the sticky situation that Indonesia is embroiled in, we do not have the excuse of turning a blind eye to it. In short, this whole oil palm controversy is one highly problematic situation, where several issues are intertwined with one another. There isn't a simple solution to it. As cliché as it may sound, it requires all parties involved to play a part in solving this deep-rooted problem.
Thank you for watching. This video was created by Yuan and Joel.